Hey everybody, welcome to Life on Turkey Lane. I am so glad that you joined me tonight. We are in the kitchen and we are going to be making some homemade blueberry jam. I'm here at the house by myself. My honey bunches Andy and our son AJ went out catfishing, and I hope they bring home as many catfish as they're allowed to. And Kayla is out with a friend, and so like I said, I'm here by myself. And so I'm glad you're here visiting with me so I don't feel quite so alone. And tonight we're going to be doing some homemade blueberry jam. So stay tuned and finish watching this video. It's a super easy recipe and we're going to get down to it here in just a second. Okay, so like I said, I got some blueberries. I found them on sale at one of my favorite grocery stores to shop at. Where I live, we live close to an army base, and it's sad to say that now I know the base has what they call a commissary, and the soldiers and their families can go shopping there. And here, let me aim you back up here real quick for a second, so you're not just seeing the bottom of my mouth talk again. Anyway, our military people can go on base and they can do their grocery shopping at the commissary, and where they don't have to pay sales tax, and they probably have relatively whatever reasonable prices. I don't know what their prices are. But in the town we live in and the next town up, there's only one small grocery store, and I'm just going to tell you the prices are more than I can afford, and I make a pretty good wage where I work. So it's just super expensive. And then the only other place that we can shop for groceries here in this area is the Walmart Supercenter. And I'll be truthful with you, I am not a Walmart fan, and I just don't like going there. It's super, super busy. Half the time they're out of the things that we're looking for. And so we drive about 30 to 45 minutes to an Aldi store where we can buy groceries. And that's where I found my blueberries. And so I got them for $1.49 a pint. Sorry, a pint. They're probably a little less than a pint. But I think I got enough for our recipe tonight. I bought 4 pints of blueberries, and now I have gone ahead and washed mine and pretty much looked through them to make sure there's no bad ones or anything like that. And so this is a super easy recipe. You don't need, actually you can make blueberry jam with not a lot of sugar and not a lot of pectin. There are some recipes that you can find that are no pectin, but I kind of like this recipe the best, and so that's what we're going to do. Blueberry jam is wonderful not only on toast and like bagels, but you can spoon a little bit over ice cream, warm it up and spoon it over ice cream, just a lot of different things. And this recipe that I got does not use a whole lot of sugar compared to your normal recipes. So we're going to get started. Now, as you will see over here, let me get you closer. My jars are new. My jars and lids and everything are new. I just went ahead and bought a case of jars. I bought them a while back. But so anyway, there's a few things you'll need if you want to do this recipe too. Now, I have washed and sterilized my jars, and they're still wet in there. But anyway, what I'm going to do before I get started on the blueberries is I'm going to put these in a pot. I've got my my canner over here. Now let me aim you around here. I've got this new Presto canner that I bought. It's a pressure canner, but we're just going to be water bathing these in there. Jams only have to be water bathed. And so I've got my, my Presto canner out here, and I'm just gonna put my jars in there and I'm gonna fill them with water and put them on the heat so that way they can start sterilizing and be hot whenever we're ready to do the jam, okay? So I'm gonna bring the jars over. And now this recipe should make anywhere from 5.5, maybe even 6 jars. So I've got 6 of the half pint jars, and I do have a 1/4 pint jar, just in case, because I don't know exactly how much it's gonna make. And so we're just gonna do it this way, and I'm gonna go ahead and fill this up with some water, get my jars covered and get them boiling, or, you know, sterilizing. Okay, now the biggest problem is you cannot see inside my canner, but I'm just going to pour this water in the jars. I'm going to fill the jars up with the water. I'm going to need another pan full. Now I do have a steam canner too that I bought at a yard sale, and it would be perfect for making jam, but honestly I don't want to, I just don't want to get oh, what do you call it, the thermometer out. Mine doesn't have a little heater thing on there, which it really wouldn't matter, but okay, so you just keep adding water until you've got some over the top of your jars, just kind of like that. And I was going to use my stock pot here as my water bath, and I was going to use this as the blueberries, but when you make jam, the foam, it kind of boils up, and I was afraid this would be too shallow, and I only have 1 stock pot now. I used to have 2, and I only have 1. So, I don't know what exactly happened to my other one, but I only have the 1 stock pot now, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and use this pressure canner as a water bath canner tonight. So anyway, I'm just going to, and in the bottom of my thing, I have a rack in the bottom, so these jars are not sitting directly on the bottom of the pan or on the heat. So I'm just going to turn my stove on. I'm going to turn it down kind of medium low. So I'm going to turn it on medium low just so this water can get nice and warm and start sterilizing those jars while we're getting ready to process the blueberries. And of course the blueberries will take a while to process, so we don't have to have the heat on real high. And then in my smaller, I've got a, well, what did I do with it? Oh, here it is. In my saucepan, I'm going to fill it up with some warm water. And I'm going to put the lids in it. Now these are new lids and they have been washed with soapy water. But I'm going to go ahead and put the lids in my pan here and just let them, I'm going to put them on a burner on low so the water can be nice and hot. For when I start filling my jars and putting the lids on. And you don't want those don't need to boil, they just need to be in hot water. So, okay, so first things first is I'm going to take my berries and I'm going to start, now you really don't need a whole lot of special equipment for canning. I do have a canning funnel, that just makes life easier, and I do have one of these jar grabbers. that makes life easier too, but you really don't have to have those. If you're careful filling your jars, and if you have just a plain old pair of tongs, you can put your jars in the water and pull them out. I just bought these. They were relatively inexpensive, and I have them. So you really don't need anything too fancy or special. And now my rings have been washed and with soapy water, so they're fine. They're not going to be touching any of the product. So, but what you're going to do to start getting the blueberries prepared is, now I've washed, like I said, I've washed these, made sure there was no bad ones in them, and the first 3/4 of them we are going to go ahead and kind of smash down. We might even do the whole thing, but you just take a potato masher, and I think you can see that. But anyway, just kind of take a potato masher and just start mashing the berries. Now I do like my blueberry jam to have a little bit of texture to it. I don't want my blueberries to be all completely emascerated, but I do want to get them squished down. Now we're going to need 4 cups of berries, and I think this will be enough, but in case I have some frozen berries over here that I've let thaw, just in case I need a little extra. So we're going to keep mashing these in there until I get 4 cups worth of prepared berries. And anymore, I don't think you get a full pint at the store. You know, the amounts of things keep going down. They try to not make the containers appear any smaller. But if you look at the net ounces, so let's see. Yeah, this one is 11 ounces. Let's see, this kind is, I don't even see a weight on this one. So, but anyway, both kinds were at Aldi for $1.49 a container. So, so once again, I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And now I'm going to see if I can get you a little closer on the action here. The problem is, well, you can see pretty good, I think. My kitchen is not very big. It's kind of like a little bit of a horseshoe shape. The one wall doesn't even have any cabinets or anything. But I don't really have a whole lot of counter space, so I try to get you where you can see just about as good as possible in here. But I will make sure to put this recipe in the description box with some instructions or directions, so that if you want to make some blueberry jam too, you can do that. And like I said, this is this kind of canning, water bath canning, is not real scary. It's not, I mean, it can be dangerous because you can get burnt, of course, you know, just like with any cooking, you can get burnt. But this is not like pressure canning, so so there's no danger of the pressure canner or the canner blowing up on you. And so we're good to go there. And now what you're going to need is 4 cups of prepared blueberries, or mashed blueberries. So I think we're going to get pretty close with this. Okay, last one. We're going to get this in there, and I'm going to see how much it is and see if we need to add any of the frozen ones. I got the frozen ones from Dollar Tree. Um, see if I can figure out how many cups this is. Like I said, I need 4 cups. Okay. So we should be good. I've got a little over 4 cups there, so we're good. And I'm going to move on over to the stove, and we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. We're going to put the blueberries in the pan here, and I'm going to turn the pan on a medium heat. This little screen back here. And now I'll show you inside here. The blueberries, some of them are completely mashed, and some of them are still whole. And that's kind of what I want, because I want jam. I don't want like something mushy. I do want a little bit of texture in there. So I'm going to turn the stove on about a medium here. About a medium. Get that going. And this won't take very long. And so since that burner's on, I'm going to bring my pectin over. Okay, so I've got my pectin. I'm going to see if I can get you on the counter here, so that way you can see over into my pan and watch me do this. So hold on just a minute and I'll be right back. So I think you can see down in there pretty good. So I've got my pan of blueberries here, and I've got them on, like I said, medium heat. And I'm going to add 4.5 tablespoons of pectin. Now, I've got the Sure Gel pectin here, but you can use the any other brand you want, as long as it's pectin. And I'm going to try to open this without spilling it into my pan, because I just want to measure out 4.5 tablespoons. Let me get the scissors over here. And now, if I have any of this pectin left over, I will just put it in a jar and save it to go with, because I plan on making some strawberry jam here in the near future when strawberries go on sale. Or we might go to a U-Pick place. Now, there is a U-Pick blueberry farm about 35-40 minutes from where we live here. And this packet might even be like 4.5 tablespoons. And I'm just going to spread 1 tablespoon at a time in here and stir it in just so it doesn't clump up or anything like that. But this is kind of a low pectin and low sugar recipe. My spoon will probably be dyed blueberry color when I'm done. That's okay, I don't mind. So that's 1 tablespoon. And I'm just going to add in 3.5 more. Now the reason I'm doing this a tablespoon at a time instead of just dumping the whole package in is because even though this package tells me it's 1 3/4 ounces, I'm not sure how many tablespoons it is. So I may even need more than 1 pack, which is fine because I have more than 1 pack, but I think it's going to be just about the right amount. So that's 3. And boy, if you can, I don't know if you can see this, but the blueberries, they're turning a beautiful, that beautiful, deep, rich, reddish purple color. That's just what we want. See the spoon? Isn't that beautiful? Four and a half. And I'm, yeah, it's about 5 tablespoons, 4.5 to 5 tablespoons. So I just went ahead and added the rest of the pack. And that'll be fine because I was a little over on the blueberries, so. And now I'm going to bring this up to a boil. And then I'm going to add my sugar. And I need 3 cups of sugar. So that's less than half of what your normal recipe is. Usually it's about 7 cups of sugar. So this is a lower sugar and a lower pectin recipe. A lot of times you'll need 2 packs of pectin. So I'm going to make sure that this is getting, we need to go ahead and turn that up a little bit so it can be getting hot. Okay, if you can see, I don't know if you can see down in here. It's starting to come to a little bit of a boil. So as soon as it comes to a little bit of a boil, we're going to add the sugar. So I'm going to get 3 cups of sugar here. Let that boil for a little bit. Well, that is such a beautiful, beautiful color. I can see some of the whole berries in there. I'm going to go ahead and pour in the whole 3 cups of sugar. And I'm just going to stir it all in. Make sure it dissolves real good. Okay, now I'm going to bring this up to what they call a rolling boil. And what a rolling boil is that it comes to a boil and the boil is so ferocious that when I stir it, I can't stir the bubbles out. It continues to boil. And once it does that, we're going to time it for 1 minute and let it boil like that for 1 minute before we get ready to can, okay? I've moved my lids off the heat because they don't need to boil, they just need to get pretty hot. So, and actually I think they say the new lids you really don't even have to do that with, but they still need to be sterile, so it's good to just make sure they get nice and steamy. And see, I didn't add any water to this. Now, I do need to add some lemon juice. I need to add 1/4 of a cup. You like my little measuring cups? I got them from Dollar General. They look like little lemons. But anyway, I need 1/4 of a cup of lemon juice. And I should have put it in when I just first put in the berries, but it's not going to really matter. It's just going to add a little bit of acidity. And now you can use fresh lemon, but all lemons, your fresh lemons don't all have the same acidity level. And so it's best to use the bottled lemon juice for your canning, your jam recipes. Because it is all the same, has the same acid level. And so you're going to get it's more balanced. And so that's why you should use the bottled lemon juice instead of fresh lemons for this. But I have seen people put like lemon peel, grated lemon zest in it. I've seen them use real lemons too. And so it is possible. But the majority of the recipes say that you should use the bottled lemon juice. And this big canner is taking a lot longer to get up to the heat needed. But as long as the jars are sterile, they're good. As long as they're hot, good and hot. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm not going to pressurize it, but I'm just going to set the lid on there a little bit. And I'm going to start getting my stuff over here. So I have it all ready for whenever this stuff needs to start getting jarred up. Put that down there. Get a towel and dry this off. Here, we'll just use the edge of this. Okay, this is starting to boil, and I'm going to go ahead and stir it a little bit. Okay, it's starting to get to rolling a little bit. And the reason why you need kind of a taller stock pot when you're making jam and stuff, because when this does start to get to a rolling boil, it will come up pretty high. And I knew for a fact that my other pan was way too shallow, and I would have spillover and a big problem. So anyway, they say a watch pot never boils, and I've experienced that that's kind of true, but jam goes really quick, so you kind of need to be on the ball, and we're starting to get to that rolling boil stage. And now if it stays boiling while I'm stirring, which it is, we're getting to that rolling boil. When you can't stir the bubbles out, that's when you need to start timing. So we're getting to that point here in just a minute. Okay, here we go. I can hear it still boiling. Okay, I've got it on for 1 minute, and I'm just going to let it go through that rolling boil for 1 minute. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some pot switching here. Let me see if I can get my my pot holders, because I want you to be able to see me filling the jars and stuff, and I'm going to have to move you over and put you at another angle. But these jars, I'm going to have to turn the heat up on these because they got to stay high here. I'm going to turn this off. I gotta go up to high. The only problem with a glass top stove is when you turn the burners off, it doesn't completely go off. So I'm going to move this to the back burner here. Now I'm going to get something to skim some of this foam off with. Okay. I'm just going to get a spoon and I'm going to go in here and skim some of this foam off the top. And most jams, I mean, this is not something you have to do. It just makes for a prettier jam, because otherwise you're going to have all this foam sitting on the top of your jam when you open it up, and nobody really likes that a whole lot. So anyway, I'm just taking my spoon and I'm skimming it on the top just to get the frothiness off the top of this jam here. I'm gonna see if I can bring you closer here so you can kind of see what I'm doing and you're not looking at the top of that canner. And I gotta be careful. I don't want to get my legs on top of the stove here, but I don't know if I can get you in the right spot. Let's just go ahead and put you down on the floor again. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can aim you up here so you can see, kind of see what I'm doing. And I'm gonna put you over this way. It's just so hard, like I said, my kitchen is so tiny that it's kind of hard to get you in a right spot here. But I'm just taking, if you can see, I'm going to see if I can get you to see in my pan there. You can see kind of the frothiness, you know, the lighter color stuff on top is like a kind of a froth that comes on top of the jam. And like I said, it is edible, but most people go ahead and take that off the top of their jam. They skim it off because it just makes for a prettier jam and just a smoother jam. So anyway, so that's all I'm doing to that, and I'm just going to kind of see if I can get as much of that off the top as I can. Okay, but I gotta start working fast before my jam cools down too much. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start getting my jars out. I'm gonna put this lid over on my counter here, out of my way for just a second. And now I'm gonna use this jar pull picker upper, and I'm just gonna pull, I'm gonna see if I can show you this. If you're new to canning, then you'll need to know this. But I'm going to take a jar, and now they're filled with hot water, and I'm just going to pour the water out. Just like that. And I'm going to sit it over here on my towel, and we're going to start filling this jar. Now I'm going to use my canning funnel. I'm going to put it in the jar, and I've got my ladle here, and I'm just going to start ladling the jam into the jars. Until I've got a 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch headspace. Now I don't have the little headspace gauge, but you can kind of see it on your jar. I usually go just to about a little bit over the bottom of the funnel here. And now I'm going to get another jar out so that I can move my funnel over into it. Now your jars need to be hot when you put hot liquid in them. Otherwise, and that needs a little bit more in there. And I got a couple other things I got to get here. Just going to fill that up a little bit more. Okay, so now what I've got here, I've got what they call a debubbler. And so I'm going to stick that down in there and just make sure there's no air bubbles in there. And then I'm going to get my lid out from back here. Oh, before I put my lid on, I almost just made a boo-boo, guys. But before I get my lid on, I've got some clear vinegar, white vinegar, in this little bowl. And now what I'm going to do, especially with jam, because it's got a lot of sugars and stuff in it, I'm going to go around my jar here lid, just to make sure, see there was a little jam on the rim there, just to make sure we don't have anything that keeps the jar from sealing. So then I'm going to get my lid. I've got my little magnet here to pick up the lid. I'm going to get my lid and put it on there. And then I'm just going to get my ring. And I'm just going to, finger tight is all I need that. Okay? And like I said, my kitchen is small and this is a tight quarters. And I'm just going to put my jar in the water. And we're going to start filling up another one here. What did I do with my Lego? Trying not to get jam all over my towel, but like I said, I have such a small space. And this one burner over here is still hot, and I don't want to put anything on it or put my arm on it or anything, so. Get me another jar out here. That on there. Let's get that out of the way. That would help. Okay, I'm going to debubble. And I'm going to wipe the rim off. And just a little more jam in there because once again I didn't get it quite full enough. You only need about 1/4 inch from the top. Okay. And I'm going to wipe my rim off. Okay, I'm going to get my lid. And my ring. And once again, I just need my ring finger tight. And I'm sorry I keep putting stuff in your face here. I'm going to put it in my thing. And I'm going to go ahead and get me another jar out. Put that one back there. We'll get this one up here. Okay, I'm going to debubble. I'm going to clean my rim off here. I'm sorry I'm standing in front of you here. I don't mean to be doing that. I hope this video comes out because it's not looking real good at this point. But anyway, you do this to every jar. You want to debubble just because you want to make sure there's no air bubbles. It's going to make anything in there go bad later on. And then you're going to want to wipe the rim with some white vinegar on a paper towel just to make sure there's nothing sticky on there, nothing that's going to prevent the jar from sealing. Okay, I'm going to get my lid. Now, that magnetic thing is sometimes more trouble than it's worth. Gonna make sure that's finger tight. I'm gonna put it in the water here. Okay, I'm gonna bring that over. Now everybody cans just a little bit differently, and believe me when I say in this small space, this is not the ideal situation or solution, but it's what we can do in this house. And let me see if I can get you down aimed here a little bit better so you can at least see me putting it in the jars. And this vinegar is not going to make this any flavored in any way, shape, or form. It's just cleaning off the edge of the jar to make sure that it'll seal good. Now I had a little bit more blueberries than what I thought I was going to have, but I added just a little tiny bit more pectin because the package was just a little bit more than 4.5 tablespoons. And I also added just a touch more sugar because of that. So I want to be honest with you, but if you do follow the recipe exactly, then your jam should turn out perfectly. I don't know if this is going to turn out or not. It's just something we'll have to see. But I think I'm actually going to get about 6.5. I'm going to get about 6 half pints and 1/4 pint, I believe. So let me get my paper towel. Where did I put my paper towel? There it is. Let me get some more vinegar on that. Okay. Put it there. Okay, now I gotta get myself. Oh, come on. Okay, so I'm just gonna fill this up with the rest of my jam here. And we are down to the wire here. I think I got just enough to fill this little 1/4 pint up. And I mean, I am scraping the bottom. So, okay. Put that on there. Now I'm going to debubble this one. Clean my rim off. One thing is we don't want anything on that rim that would keep it from sealing. Okay, let me get the lid and the ring. Okay, this is the last one going in. Then we're going to bring these up to a boil. Move this out of the way, and I'm going to pull my pan over. That on high heat. Now that's heavy. Okay, so I just want to show you. I've got all of my jars in there. I've got 6 half pints and a quarter pint in there, and the water is coming up at least 1 inch to 2 inches over the top of the top of the jars there. And I'm going to bring this up to a boil. And once it comes to a boil, I'll be back, and we're going to set the timer for 10 minutes. It's going to process for 10 minutes, so I'll be back. Okay guys, so while I'm waiting for my pot to come up to boil, I'm going to taste a little bit of, I've already put the pan in hot water, but I got a little bit of jam in the funnel here. Looks like it's setting up to a nice consistency. See it there? And I'm going to take me a bite. Oh yeah. That'd be great on toast. Great on a nice warm bagel. It'd be super great warmed up and put over the top of some ice cream. Kind of like a blueberry pie a la mode. Oh yeah. I think that's going to be really good. I hope you try this. I'm going to be back as soon as this pan comes up to a boil. I'm hoping that my stove can do this. I don't know if it's got enough power to get it up to a boil in this big old pot. But it might take it a little bit, but it's going to get there. So I'll be back when it does. Okay guys, my pot is pretty much boiling. And I'm just going to leave it right where it is. And I'm going to start my timer to process this for 10 minutes. Timer 10, start. And I'm just going to put the lid on it, make sure it's all covered up. Now I'm not gonna put it on there where it pressurizes. I'm just laying the lid on the top here, so that way. And I'm going to process it for 10 minutes, and then we're going to come and take it off the heat and let it sit for 5 minutes. And I will be back when that's ready. Okay guys, so my timer has gone off. These jars have been processing for 10 minutes. Now I'm going to take the lid off, and I'm going to move this off of my heat. And that's really heavy. So I'm just going to move that off of my heat, and I'm going to let it sit there like that for 5 minutes, because when your water bath canning and your jars and the stuff in the jars get that hot, if I were to pull them out right now and sit them on the counter, the cold air and the hot in it, the cold air hitting it, might make the contents spew out of the top of the jars. It's called siphoning. And that's what we don't want to do, because we've just worked hard to do all this. And we want to hear these jars, the seal pop on them. And we want to have our blueberry jam. Another thing it could do is it could cause your jar to break. And you definitely don't want that. So I'm going to let it sit here. I'm going to go ahead and do my timer for 5 minutes. And I'm going to let it sit on this cool burner over here for 5 minutes. And I will be back, and we'll take these jars out. Okay guys, I'm back. The timer has gone off, and it's time for us to take these jars out of the canner. And so I'm going to start doing that here. Now I'm just going to tip the jar just a little bit to get some of that water off the top. We're going to set them over here on my little towel. Now I don't set them directly on the counter. I go ahead and set them on a towel to cool. Because I don't want that jar coming in contact with a cold counter or a hard surface. So, oh, and you can hear that one's already popped. That means that one's sealed. Oh, we got another one popped there. That's music to my ears. This one popped as I was taking it out of the canner. So that means that the jars are sealing. And there's another one. Oh, I think we've just about got 100% seal. And that one popped too as I brought it out of a canner. I am going to have to go ahead and move some of these down so I can get them all on the towel here. That way they're all sitting flat. Okay, so there we go. We got 6 half pints and a quarter pint out of that. A little bit of blueberries and a little bit of sugar. And as you saw, I tasted it. It tastes fantastic. And I like the fact that this recipe only used 3 cups of sugar. A lot of your jam recipes, if you go by the standard recipe, calls for like 7 cups of sugar to like 4 or 5 cups or 6 cups of berries. And I just didn't want to use that much sugar. First of all, I am a type 2 diabetic, and my daughter also is a type 2 diabetic, and we really shouldn't be eating this at all. Now, there is recipes that you can make. There is I can't remember the name of it. It's like an erythritol or something like that. That is a sugar substitute for jams that diabetics can use and eat. I would have to order that online. And but anyway, we don't eat a whole lot of jam, so this is going to last us for a really long time, and we'll use it sparingly. But my husband and my son, they're not diabetic, so they won't have any problems with it. But I did like the fact that it was a low sugar, low pectin recipe. And that just makes me feel better about it. So I'll come back in the morning after these have set about 12 hours, and I'll show you how to prep the jars and stuff to put, so you can put it in your pantry. We'll make sure that everything's sealed, and I'll show you what we do from there. So I'll be back to see you in the morning. Good night. Well, good morning, YouTube family. I'm glad you're here. Last night we canned up some blueberry jam with some blueberries that I got on sale at Aldi. And they were $1.49 a pint. I thought that was a good price, and so we canned up some jam. And it did all work out, as you remember. Of course, for you, it was just a couple seconds ago since you saw the other part of the video. So anyway, all 6.5 jars sealed. And so I'm going to show you what I do to prepare the jars and stuff. Let me get a warm, wet washcloth, and we will get them cleaned up. Okay, so when you're canning, you always take the little rings off, just to ensure that your seal worked. And see, I can hold the jar up like that and know that my seal, it don't pop, you know, the little thing on the top, it's down. It's not popping up and down. And so we know that they've sealed. And now you don't want to store your canned goods, your home canned goods, with the rings on, because if there is a problem there, maybe there was some siphoning, or maybe you had some food around the rim or something like that. You don't want that to, it might cause mold or it might cause a problem. And so what I do, I did put a little bit of vinegar in the water when I was processing these, so that way it keeps the, where there's no hard water deposits on the jars, and it helps them to look nice and clean and clear. And so I'm just washing around the ring, especially around the lip of the jar here, to make sure there's no stickiness or no leftover food particles or anything like that. Of course, we want to wipe the lid, just the top of the lid. And then we are going to mark these with what's in there and the date, so that way there's no question and it's not a mystery. Because a lot of jams and stuff look similar. And then we're just going to store them in the pantry just like that. Now, if I give away one for a gift or whatever, I will put the band on it just so, you know, they have a pretty thing. But I'll let them know that they need to take the band off. But didn't that turn out so beautiful looking and a beautiful, wonderful color? And we're going to pop one open and we're going to try it on some toast. It would be a great, excellent topper for plain yogurt. So I'm going to get my toaster out here and get it ready, and we're going to give it a taste test, okay? So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got my toaster out. As you can tell, it's seen better days. I think this was a used one and yard sale find or something, and we've had it for many years. And so it's looking pretty rough, but we're just going to put our bread in there. Let that toast. I like mine to be like a medium darkness. And then I'm going to pop open this lid. You can hear that seal pop. And it's looking really good. Yeah. It gelled just fine. This was a low sugar, low pectin recipe. Look at that. It's so yummy. That's going to be really good. We're just waiting for our toast. As soon as it pops up, I'll be back. Okay, so my toast popped up. And I'm going to put me a little bit of butter on there. I like my toast with butter and then jam. How about you? How do you like your toast? Do you put butter on it? Do you just smear some jam on it? And save yourself a little bit of calories? I like mine with butter. I like the flavor that it adds to it. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this blueberry jam on here. Spread it all on. See if I can bring in closer. That didn't work. But anyway. Time to spread my jam on. It really looks delicious. Okay. Now, proper people would cut their toast in half and act like they're all dainty, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take a bite. Got a nice blueberry flavor. Down my mouth. So there you go, guys. Blueberry jam with just a few simple ingredients. Didn't take a whole lot of time. Water bath canning is super easy. So I hope you try this recipe. And if you've never canned before, don't be scared about it. Like I said, water bath canning is super easy. You don't have to really have a whole lot of special equipment or anything. So give this a try. I'm glad that you joined me at Life on Turkey Lane. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And hit that like button. Share this video. And come back and see me. Bye.